This is Pre-Market Pulse, powered by Zintch, a fast, clean read on the tone of the market before the opening bell. No hype, no noise, just the signals that matter. Here's how the market is setting up this morning.
Good morning, cobbers, and welcome to the Zintch.com Pre-Market Pulse for Wednesday, April 15, 2026. 3 days ago, futures were down over 1% on a naval blockade headline. This morning, the S&P 500 is within striking distance of its all-time high. That's the market in April 2026. Geopolitical whiplash at warp speed. The numbers at 6:40 a.m. Eastern Time. Futures are barely moving this morning. A pause after 2 days of aggressive buying. Dow Futures, 48,698.00, down 57 points, down 0.12%. S&P 500 Futures, 6,996.00, down 8.75 points, down 0.12%. Nasdaq Futures, 25,955.75, down 41.00 points, down 0.16%. All three are fractionally red, but context matters. Yesterday the S&P 500 closed at 6,967.38, up 1.17%. Its second straight day of gains that pushed it within a hair of its all-time record. The Dow added 317 points, plus 0.65%. The Nasdaq logged its longest winning streak since 2021. The market isn't pulling back this morning. It's catching its breath. The Iran situation, ceasefire holding, talks may resume. The temporary ceasefire between the U.S. and Iran is still in place, and that's the single biggest reason markets have rallied this week. The Hormuz blockade is technically active. No ships have passed it. But the tone has shifted dramatically from confrontation to negotiation. Iran has presented 6 conditions for a broader deal. Pakistan, Egypt, and Turkey continue mediating. Reports suggest the temporary ceasefire could be extended to 45 days. Israel and Lebanon have agreed to begin direct negotiations in Washington. Another diplomatic thread that's adding to the optimism. None of this is resolved. But the market has decided to price in progress, and so far, the progress keeps coming. Oil is falling fast. This is the number that tells the story. Brent crude dropped 4.6% yesterday and is continuing lower this morning, trading around $94 - 95 per barrel. WTI has fallen to roughly $90 to $91. That's a stunning reversal from $103 plus on Monday morning. In 48 hours, oil has given back most of its blockade-driven spike. The market is pricing in a scenario where the blockade is temporary and talks resume. Which means the supply squeeze everyone feared on Sunday night may not materialize. Oil below $95 is a relief valve for inflation concerns, consumer spending, and corporate margins. It's also why the equity rally has had room to run. Bank earnings. Wall Street is thriving on volatility. Yesterday's bank earnings told a clear story. Volatility is good for trading desks. JP Morgan, profit rose 13%, revenue of $49.8 billion beat estimates. Markets revenue surged 20%. The stock dipped slightly on a "sell the news" reaction despite the strong numbers. Citigroup beat estimates with the highest revenue in a decade. Trading revenue was the standout, fueled by geopolitical-driven market swings. Wells Fargo, solid quarter. Wealth management revenue up, trading desks benefiting from the same volatility tailwind. Today, the earnings parade continues. Bank of America, reporting before the bell, expected to show similar strength in trading revenue. Morgan Stanley, also reporting this morning. The theme across all the big banks. The Iran war and the market volatility it created were actually profitable for Wall Street's trading operations. The irony isn't lost on anyone. Retail sales data at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. This is the other big number today. March retail sales data drops at 8:30 a.m., and it could move markets. Early indicators suggest sales grew for a 6th consecutive month, boosted by higher than usual tax refunds. The IRS reports average refunds of $3,521, up 11.1% from last year following tax law changes. That extra cash appears to have offset rising gasoline prices at the pump. The market wants to see consumer resilience. If retail sales come in strong, it reinforces the narrative that the economy is absorbing the geopolitical shock without cracking. If they disappoint, the "how long can the consumer hold up?" question gets louder. PPI came in cool yesterday. One data point that got overshadowed by the Iran headlines. Wholesale prices, PPI, rose just 0.5% in March, well below expectations. Year-over-year PPI hit 4.0%, elevated but not accelerating as fast as feared given the oil spike. Cooler than expected producer prices are a positive signal for the Fed and for the inflation outlook. It suggests that even with oil above $90, pipeline price pressures aren't spiraling. Asia rallied again. Asian markets extended their winning streak overnight. Nikkei 225, up sharply, continuing its rebound from Monday's lows. Hang Seng, up 0.3 to 0.7% to around 25,947 to 26,045. Shanghai Composite, up modestly to around 4,027 to 4,033. Asia is buying the diplomacy narrative. Lower oil prices are especially positive for energy-importing economies like Japan and South Korea. Europe is flat. European markets opened mixed to flat this morning. After 2 days of gains, Europe is pausing alongside U.S. futures. The FTSE, DAX, and CAC are all hovering near unchanged as traders wait for retail sales data and more earnings. Gold hit a 4-week high. Gold jumped above $4,840 yesterday, hitting a 4-week high. The combination of a weakening dollar, as safe haven demand fades, hopes for continued Iran talks, and the general, buy everything, mood lifted the metal. Gold is now trading in a range that suggests investors are hedging optimism with a bit of insurance. The read: this is a market that wants to go higher. The S&P 500 is sitting just below its all-time record. Oil is falling. Bank earnings are strong. The ceasefire is holding. Diplomacy is advancing on multiple fronts. Iran, Israel, Lebanon. The risk? The market has priced in a deal that doesn't exist yet. If talks collapse again, or if the ceasefire breaks down, the reversal would be swift. But this morning, the mood is one of cautious confidence. Futures are flat because there's nothing new to react to. And after the week we've had, flat feels almost boring. Retail sales at 8:30 a.m. and Bank of America earnings are the morning's 2 inflection points. The record is right there. That's your Zintch.com pre-market pulse for Wednesday, April 15, 2026. Good luck, and goodbye.